Hello parents. In another video we talked about the difference between expressions and equations. Terms make up an expression or equation, and we define terms as a number or a constant. For example, 1, 5, 8, 11 are all numbers or constants, therefore they are terms. Terms can also be a variable or a letter that represents an unknown. X, Y, A, or B are all variables or letters that represent a number, and these are all terms. Variables multiplied by a number is also a term. For example, 2x or 3y or 4a or 5b are all terms. These numbers in front of the variable is called a coefficient. So therefore the coefficient in front of x is 2, the coefficient in front of y is 3, the coefficient in front of a is 4, the coefficient in front of b is 5. You can look at these as almost as if it is 2 times x or 3 times y, 4 times a, or 5 times b. In the case where there is no number in front of the variable, there is an invisible 1 or negative 1 depending on the operand or operation for the variable. So for example, in the case of the variable x or negative x, there is a 1 in front of it that is not written, or negative 1 in front of the x in the case of negative x. So therefore the coefficient is 1 for x and negative 1 in front of negative x. In this video we are going to focus on combining like terms. Anytime that we have like terms, we can combine them to make it easier to solve for an unknown. We will take the example of, let's say, just something very simple like 2 plus 4. Well, we know that the answer is 6 even though there's no equal sign. But basically if you saw 2 plus 4 in an expression or an equation, you can simplify it to be that it is 6. We can do something very similar in the case of variables. If you had something like 2x plus 4x, you can combine them that there is now 6x, or 6 of the unknown x. Sometimes I have to explain to the kids that whatever you put in place of x or the unknown, it's just basically just something. So sometimes I'll say that there's 2 apples plus 4 apples. How many apples do you have? And there are 6 apples in this case. I do this when the student has difficulty in understanding that x is some unknown, something that we don't know until we solve for it. So now we'll take the example of what if we have variables and numbers. So therefore, if we have something like x plus 4x plus 3 plus 1, we can simplify this or we can combine it where there is 1x plus 4x, which equals 5x, and then 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. Again, these are expressions because there's no equal sign. It doesn't equal anything, so this is as far as that we can go. What if we have different variables? 5x plus 3x plus 2y plus 6y. The x and the y's are different variables. They are not like terms. So therefore we can only combine them as 8x plus 8y. Variables can have powers or degrees. For example, x squared and x each has the same variable x, but since one is squared and the other is not, they are different terms. So x squared and x are different terms because they have a different power. And it is just like having 2 different variables. So what if we have variables with different degrees or powers and numbers? So in the example, x squared plus 2x squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 3 plus 4. We can combine like terms with x squared and 2x squared, which equals 3x squared, 5x plus 2x, which equals 7x, and then 3 plus 4, which equals 7. Finally, what if we have variables on both sides of the equation? So we can take the example of 5x minus 4 is equal to x plus 8. For this video, I will quickly show how to solve this, but this will be explained in more detail in the video about what we do on one side of the equal sign we have to do on the other side. So in this case, what I can do is I can add 4 to both sides, and I can subtract x to both sides. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically add down. 5x plus a negative 1x is the same thing as 4x. Negative 4 plus a positive 4 is equal to 0. X plus a negative x is 0. Positive 8 plus 4 is equal to 12. Therefore, I don't have to put the zeros. 4x is equal to 12, and I can solve it where x is equal to 3. 4 times some number is equal to 12, which equals 3. Or I can divide both sides by 4 to show that x is equal to 3. This very short video talked about defining terms and then combining like terms. When is a term a like term, and when is a term a completely different term, and how we can combine them. I hope this video helped in explaining combining like terms. Thank you very much for watching.